500 years of Beretta. That would seem like a huge milestone, and it is. So I was hoping that Beretta would show up to this year's SHOT Show really hard, but they kinda didn't. Now granted, this year's SHOT Show was a little weak anyway, but I was really hoping to get some information on one of my favorite all-time pistols, and one that was a complete surprise to me when I picked it up. The Beretta Px4 Storm. There is one aspect that seems to be a bit of a theme for the PX4. That being surprise. Most people tend to overlook it in a sea of polymer pistols. Until you shoot one, then you realize that there's a lot going on under the surface, and Beretta applied a lot of lessons learned to the Px4 Storm. The first thing you notice when you shoot a borrowed Px4 Storm is that it wants to stay incredibly flat. The sights just seem to want to rest right where they started. And it owes a lot of that to the fact that it uses a rotating locking barrel rather than a tipping locking barrel like most pistols. And there's no locking block like with the 92 on here. The Beretta 92 is well known as a pistol that's easy to manage and shoots flat, and Beretta did everything they could to retain that in the Px4 Storm. The controls received a bit of a glow up from the previous offerings that we saw from Beretta. The slide release is as close to perfect as I think it could be. It's large enough that you can reach up and activate it, but not so large that you're going to inadvertently ride it. The slide mounted safety decocker is now reachable with the firing hand thumb. And while like most people, I'm not the biggest fan of a slide mounted safety decocker system, this is about as close to perfect as you can get from an execution of it. It's also angled in such a way that when you run the slide, you're not likely to inadvertently activate it. Well, I think this is kind of a overblown issue from the Beretta 92. I still suggest getting the G model that's just the decocker only. The trigger is smooth and responsive like we've come to expect from Beretta. The double action is surprisingly smooth through the stroke, but at the beginning of the pull you do feel some mechanical stuff going on in the pistol, but it would be overly harsh to call it staginess. My example breaks at about 8.5 pounds in double action. The single action has 14 millimeters of take up before you come to the wall, and there's a little bit of creep through it as it breaks, and then you get 4 millimeters of over travel. The single action breaks at 3.5 to 3.75 pounds on mine. Overall, for a stock double single action pistol, the Storm is very nearly close to the gold standard. I've spent enough time singing the praises of the PX4, but there are some issues that I can't ignore. First and foremost in my mind is the fact that Beretta kind of forgot to texture the thing. There's a little bit of texturing on the front and back strap, and while the texturing on the front strap is okay, the back strap is dismal. It really only covers about half of that back strap and could stand to be far more aggressive. Then when we get to the sides, it's completely devoid of any texturing at all. It's just as smooth as a congressman's brain. This leads the Beretta to get a little loose in the hand if you have anything but a death grip on it, and gets even worse in sweaty or rainy conditions. This is one of those issues that Beretta could address fairly easily with a refresh of the Storm line. Next is the curved trigger guard. While I'm a fan of the aesthetics of the curved trigger guard, squaring it off would make weapons light integration far easier and give you a little bit more room in there for gloved use. And probably most obviously would be an optics cut on here. I know Beretta just licensed out Langdon's 92 optics cut for their pistols, so I don't think it would be too hard to get a similar deal for a PX4 optics cut from Langdon on here. And in today's market, it really is just a necessity. The PX4 shoots far better than you expect it to. The flat recoiling characteristics paired with a good trigger make it easy to run fast and accurately. I've posted some of my best times on box target drills with a PX4. Its strengths really do lie under its unassuming appearance, but its appearance is actually maybe the most divisive thing about it. Personally, I find the Storm to be a rather handsome pistol, and from the moment I saw it at inception, I loved the lines of it. But there is a very vocal crowd out there that find it ugly. Now, while there's no accounting for taste, I do think that if those who are offended by its appearance shot it, they'd have to admit its capabilities. The PX4 is a sleeper of a gun that I would argue didn't get a fair shake its first go-around. With a little bit of effort, Beretta could rework this and give it a rebirth and maybe the success it deserves. Beretta has lived under a cloud of the 92 success, but they do have a lot of really good designs that have gone unnoticed. And if Beretta could just put in a little bit of effort, they'll probably enjoy another 40 years of success with systems like this. Anyway, if you stuck around this long, I just want to say thank you. Leave a like and a comment so we can fight back the algorithm, and subscribe because I've got a lot more coming.